From 1991 to 1993, I was molested by Sergio. It hasn't been as much of a secret as people might think. I was about 11 to 13 years old when I would go over the weekends to my tía Irene's and visit with my cousins, and we'd go to Disneyland, the movies, the observatory. We'd have a really good time. But unfortunately, in that time, Sergio also began to molest me, touch me. My tía Irene's house, and my tía Graciela's house, at the movies, in Disneyland, around people that didn't realize. And over the time, I learned to just freeze and be numb, and because I was scared of what would happen if I did something wrong. And finally, around 93, we were returning from visiting the Bernal side of the family, and we were in my tío Guillermo's van, and we were in the back, and I was sitting next to Sergio, and he had a blanket over us, and he started to touch me under the blanket while everyone was in the van, and I instantly froze. I went from being there to not being there, and just completely had to play like I was asleep. And he grabbed my hand, and he put my hand on top of his penis, over his jeans, and he began to make me squeeze and touch him while we were in the van with everyone else. And I had to pretend I was asleep, because as easily as people can say, well, why didn't you just wake up and act like, you know, something was happening? It was 3 years. And as a victim, as a kid, he's someone I trusted. He was my uncle. He was my family member. And he had me in a state of freeze. I just would freeze. And we got home, back to Irene's, and that night was the night that changed everything for me. On top of all the other years, the fact that it happened in front of literally people in a van, and he knew he was doing it, and he was willing to get caught, didn't think he'd get caught, knew he had that power over me to just completely freeze. And over the years, I developed an eating disorder on top of anxiety and depression. I had flashbacks, nightmares, but I became numb. My skin became numb. There's a reason I can get these tattoos. I don't feel. I escape. My brain and my body do not connect. And it's still that way. And it's been 25 years. And it's not fair when I can't even get a massage and not feel a thing. When I tell my brain everything's okay, I'm safe, but my brain is still in freeze mode after 25 years. I've had some therapy. I've talked about it to a lot of people, but it took me a lot of years to even give myself the okay to even think about it. let alone deal with it. And it's not fair anymore that, you know, it still continues to affect me. There is no just get over it. You live your life. You've lived your life with all your kids, carefree, while me and others have been suffering for all these years. And the fucked up part is that I did tell someone. I told my aunt. And when I told my aunt, she told my mom. And when my mom found out, she called my dad. And they set a date to go over to my tía Dennis and confront what was happening. And they did. Now I'll say that as a 13-year-old, I wasn't ready to let everyone know. I confided in my aunt. But I'm so glad as an adult that she advocated for me and did the right thing and told my mom. And they went. My dad, my Aunt Hope, and my mom. And nothing happened. My mom went, my aunt went and said what was happening, what I had told them. And Grandpa, Irene, Wada, my dad were there. And hopefully my mom will feel strong enough to also share her video, but I respect if she doesn't. But know that I know that Wada doubted me, questioned if I was lying. I was 13 years old. Why would I lie? What would I need from him to lie? I just don't understand how you could automatically think that. And not, regardless if it's your brother or not contemplate. Especially knowing now as an adult how many child abusers there are already in your family. You have an uncle that molests his own kids, and you all knew about it and grew up just avoiding that person and staying safe. But the moment someone of your blood on top of that says something's happening, it gets ignored. And that was devastating to know that my other family, I mean, I knew I was a black sheep already, but I was a kid. I didn't do anything wrong. I was going with my dad's side of the family. And I loved my cousins and going very much. And to have that happen to me for 3 years and have that battle of wanting to be there with my cousins, but being afraid of what might happen, it has just damaged my life. And now I'm a mom, and I don't want my son to grow up and not come to me when something, if anything, ever happened. And I can't protect him if I'm not healed from what happened to me, because I don't want to continue this cycle of silence, of shame. This family has generations of abuse, and now that we're coming out with it, I don't need the approval of anyone, because I needed it when I was a child. When my mom went and told you guys why the rest of the family didn't know, if they knew, why Sergio, your career was more important, your Navy career was more important than my trauma, my violation. I don't understand. And then to have years later just nothing be talked about. I finally show back up and it's like nothing ever happened. Sergio, my Tío Guillermo's funeral, had the balls to come up to my mom and hug her. You molested her daughter. And you just smile and chuckle and hi, Tia. Because that's what you do. You put people in the public and put them in a situation that you overpower them, and they cower and they go along with it because you thrive on having that control over people. And with the Travolta's funeral, at his service, I saw you, Sergio, to the point where you just made it an effort to come all the way. Come say hi to me. Why would I want to say hi to you? And with a smile. Hey, Susie, you're not going to say hi to me? You're going to be like that? Who does that? You touched me. You made me touch you. I was 11, 12, 13 years old. Why would I want to say hi to you? And at Grandpa's funeral, same thing. You eyed me. You waited to try and get my son to be nearby enough to come and say hi to me. The fact that I can't even mourn my grandfather, despite however everyone else was fighting over him, all these things, that day I had to still concern myself with where you were. I'm 41 years old. I survived an abusive marriage, but I entered that abusive marriage because of where you put me, of how damaged I became because of you. And no time is just gonna go away and get over it. But I know that now that I'm not gonna carry the shame and the secret, and whenever I show up, feel like I'm worth nothing to you guys, that you didn't care that I was violated, that you didn't bother to have a family meeting and say, hey, I don't know, but Susie's claiming this. I'm not worth it to you guys. So at the same time, whether you choose to go to the side of your brother, that's okay. You guys never supported me to begin with. And I have cut out and learned to cut out toxic family. So this is no different. If you don't add to my life and support me and know when to call out someone who's sick, then I don't need you in my life. I'm not obligated because you're family. I'm not obligated to speak to you, to have a relationship with you. You can continue to tell your stories to whoever you need to, but I just need to not carry this around anymore. And it's the way I'm gonna get over it. Because I shouldn't have to have carried this because I was afraid of what was gonna happen to his family, to his kids. I'm a parent, I'm a human, I care. But damaging myself and continuing to die little by little for someone else that honestly hasn't shown me the same respect or love or concern, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. It's keeping myself alive and healthy so that I can raise a healthy son. So my goal in this is truly just to let go of the secret, Sergio's secret. Stop carrying it around. Stop feeling the shame, and truly be able to start healing by releasing this and letting the family know, my family know, that amongst you, there's a violator, and a chronic violator, a multiple violator. It didn't just happen to me. But I need my story to be retold because it was told and you guys swept me under the rug. And I'm not okay with that, and I never was. But I wasn't strong enough or well enough to tackle that. And I am now. I want to heal. I want to get over it. And I'm not in control of what anyone decides to do after watching this. You can continue to live your life and support him. But as I said, I can disconnect from anybody who is toxic or dysfunctional to my life, negative to my life, not safe to my life, by having that attachment to him. Yeah, I don't need drama. I just need you guys to hear my story and know what happened to me and how detrimental it was that I wasn't believed, or no one cared to figure out what was going on. But that's my story, and there was never going to be a good time, but 25 years is long enough to have been protecting other people's feelings, to not cause drama, to not cause problems. That's not my job to worry about what it's going to cause, the rifts it's going to cause, the fights it's going to cause. That's not for me to care. Nobody cared what it did to my life. So, that being said, I relinquish this secret from my life. I am a survivor of incest at the hands of Sergio Gonzalez, your brother, your uncle, your cousin. And I didn't do anything to deserve it. I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't my fault. But I paid the price for over 25 years on a daily basis. There's always something in my life that is directly caused by what Sergio did to me. So, peace.